All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. We got Wednesday, October 2nd, another 4 MLB playoff games to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, want to go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment of this video. If you do want to fade me or if you want to ride with me, all of my final plays are going to be in the pinned comment. Yesterday, we come out on top with a whopping profit of 0.03 units. Not 0.3 units, 0.03 units. If we don't deserve a cha-ching after that massive night, I don't know what we do. But in all seriousness, we kind of salvaged it. It didn't seem like it was going to be that great of a night after we had the Astros on the money line. Tigers beat them 3-1. They did make it super interesting in the ninth inning there, but ultimately, came up short. Jose Iglesias, that cashes his under in 1.5 bases, but it was only a quarter unit for -165 odds. Yuck, but hey, still a win, right? And then the Padres team total, oh my God, we had to sweat out. They had 3 in the first 2 or 3 innings, right? And we had to wait till the end of the game for someone to hit an unnecessary solo home run to hit the over. But like I said, it was a profitable night. 0.03 units is all, but we shall still take it. It's better than being in the red, right? But guys, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can do a little bit better today. We're starting it off with Houston taking on the Tigers. So it looks like we have Tyler Holton opening up for the Tigers, but Reese Olson listed as the probable primary pitcher. So 2 things, I guess, to look at there. Holton's been very good to start games. Last 5 starts, he's got a 0.5 or 0.4 ERA, so very good there. He's going up against Hunter Brown, who definitely has turned his season around. If we remember, I would say midway through, maybe a little bit before that, Hunter Brown season wasn't looking all that great, but now in his last 5 starts, he's gone up against some decent offenses. Last 5 starts here, 1.6 ERA, pitching over 6 innings per game, allowing under 5 hits per game, less than a half of a home run per game, and averaging 6 strikeouts per game. So I do think that even if it's Reese Olson that pitches the majority of this game for the Tigers, Houston has a strong pitching advantage. Now we see them with a -175 price tag. That's a little too juicy to be laying, especially in playoff baseball, and especially after we saw this Detroit team stayed hot. And I want to say that real quick. I keep getting comments being like, stop fading Detroit and whatnot. I did like Houston yesterday. I knew that Scuba was an amazing pitcher and whatnot, but I figured, hey, playoff baseball, Houston had won, I think it was 10 playoff openers in a row, that type of thing. But I'm here for the upset. Even if I bet Detroit, which, hint, hint, I might be doing again today, I'm almost fandom-wise looking for this Detroit team to stay hot. They are the true, Cinderella team in this story, so I'm all there for it. If my bet doesn't reflect it, that does not mean that I'm not enjoying what Detroit's doing. But anyways, back to this game here. I think we're gonna go back to the tried and true here. First 5. Detroit ended that game, not that great offensively. They scored all their runs early. You have Houston, who came in really clutch towards the end of the game. I think they had the bases loaded at one point, or at least man on second and third with 1 out. So I do like the idea of Houston starting this game pretty hot and potentially taking the full game win. But I'm not willing to pay -175. I'm going to look at Houston here, -0.5 in the first 5 innings. So first 5 run line, you can get that at -120 over on FanDuel. I think that's the direction I would go in overall. When it comes to a total, I'd also kind of peek at the first 5. We kind of saw that there could be some volatility in the bullpen here of Detroit. Not to say that they really did crumble and whatnot, but Houston got back in that game for a reason. So I want to see them kind of be all locked up and whatnot if we're going to be taking an under 7.5. But I can trust these starters. Reese Olson's been good on the road this season. Bolton's obviously been good for 1 or 2 innings. And then Hunter Brown I'm trusting as well. So I think I might focus on the first 5 for this game. Give me the first 5 under. But yeah, my main play is probably going to be that Houston -0.5 of a run in the first 5 innings, meaning first 5 run line, meaning they have to be winning by at least one run in the first 5. And one player prop that I'd actually consider here, and we'll jump into the Outlier screen. If you guys want access to Outlier, we talk about it all the time. 7-day free trial link in the pinned comment, as well as the description. No code needed, just use that link. It's my favorite player prop research tool out there. So Victor Caratini here, over 0.5 hits. The guy has been on fire as of late, right? He's hitting 9 of his last 10 games. He's hit 10 hits over his last 10 games, and in 5 straight here. Head-to-head, you could see he has 5 straight games against Detroit in which he does have a hit, and also 6 hits in that time. time frame. On the season, he's hit it in 63% of games. At home, 59%. At home against a lefty here, 87%. Now, we're only going to have Holton for like 1 or 2 innings, but I still love this matchup. He's a left-handed pitcher. His batting average is .333 against lefties. You can see the cutter, he crushes, 573 WOBA. The sinker goes down a little bit. The changeup goes down a little bit. That's all fine and dandy when we see that he throws the cutter nearly 30% of the time. Even when we look at Holton versus Caratini here with the cutter, you can see where he throws it kind of all over the place. Well, if you leave that low and inside to Caratini, I think he gets a hit. So for the odds we're getting here at -145, I like it because look at this, -145 on FanDuel. Other books, -160, -170. So could be some value here on Caratini. We'll probably have to get it in early though, because clearly FanDuel is the mispriced book. And I will say, I'm only taking that if we can get it in like the -140 range. I don't love it that much, especially because we're kind of using stats against an opener at -170, right? So if we can get it at that -140, I don't mind it whatsoever. But Victor Caratini here, over 0.5 hits. Maybe he stays hot and keeps this streak going. He's hitting 13 of his last 15. I think he has 16 hits over his last 15, a couple multiple hit games. So like the spot for him today as well. All right, next game up here, we're looking at the Orioles taking on Kansas City. What a low-scoring game yesterday. I guess you can't really fault either pitcher. Corbin Burnes goes 8 innings, but the Royals come out on top 1-0. The Royals did score the run off of him, so it's not like he went out there and shot out 8 innings and they blew it. But nonetheless, like 8 innings, he allowed 1 run. Corbin Burnes did his job, but this Orioles offense just has not looked all that tremendous, which is scary because though they have good pitching, Corbin Burnes being included, they've had one of the most up-and-down bullpens, whether it's injuries or just guys kind of not rising to the occasion. They've had one of the most up and down bullpens, it seems, all year, and their offense was supposed to be something that really helps them out in this postseason, and they scored 0 runs in the opener to back up your ace pitcher, Corbin Burnes. That was not a game to lose. That being said, Zach Eflin is on the mound today, and I do think that he's been, pretty decent since becoming an Oriole here. In his last 5 starts, he's got a 2-flat ERA. The team is 3-2. He's allowing 6 hits per game, just under 6 hits per game, but striking out 5, walking 1. So that's kind of skewed by the fact that he had 5 walks in his last start. Last time he went up against the Royals, though, he did get smacked around. Now he was with Tampa Bay, so maybe an entirely different vibe, right? And I believe it was in Kansas City, so there are some factors here. But 7 hits through 5 innings, 6 runs came in, 5 of them earned, 1 home run, 3 strikeouts, and 1 walk, pitched almost 20 pitches per inning. Not all that tremendous. Now, on the flip side, Seth Lugo is pitching for Kansas City. His last start against the Orioles wasn't all that tremendous. 5 innings pitched, 9 hits through that time, 4 earned runs, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, 19 pitches per inning. He's been pitching well as of late, shut out through, I think, it was only a couple innings, right, that he pitched, so not the biggest of sample size, but pitched okay against Atlanta. Before that, went up against San Francisco, pitched okay. Detroit kind of got to him. So we have 2 pitchers here that have been good as of late, and I would throw that word in there. I don't want to say either one of them has been anything, special or anything like that, but I think I do kind of revert to trusting the offense here. Now, Seth Lugo has gone up against his Baltimore team, 33 plate appearances, obviously most of that coming from his appearance that we just talked about, but in those 33 plate appearances through his entire career, he's a .375 batting average against, only a strikeout rate of 12%, an expected batting average of .351, and an expected WOBA of .491. So I'm thinking that the Orioles bats can kind of get back on track today against him. He does throw a ton of pitches, curveball being one of them, slider being one of them, sinker being one of them. He's got like a 7-pitch mix, so hopefully he throws something that the Orioles can like today, right? So I'll lean towards the Orioles, -146 over on FanDuel right now. I think that they kind of get back on track. If they don't, it's going to be a hell of a switch here for the Royals, because if you remember, this Royals team was like doing everything in their power to potentially lose their playoff spot. If it wasn't for Minnesota continuing to lose, or I guess even Seattle in a sense, having that series with Houston, this Royals team may not even be a wild card team. And if they go up 2-0 in this series, yikes. So I do think Baltimore bounces back today. -146 ain't all that bad of a price tag. In terms of the total, I'm going to lean towards the over. I know we saw 1-0 yesterday, but these 2 bats are better than that. The Royals not so much on the road compared to home, but even still, I do think that, Zach Eflin's a good pitcher. I don't think that he's a fantastic pitcher, and I think that maybe the Royals could put up like 3 runs against him, and if I think the Orioles are going to win and the Royals score 3 runs, you do the math, right? That's going to hit at least 7. Let's get 1 run somewhere else. I'll lean towards the over. And then as of right now, no player props that I'm liking in this game, but as always, like I tell you guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we add or find anything. So keep an eye on that pinned comment. All right, real quick, guys, kind of on the note of that game, I want to talk to you guys about Sleeper. They have a Seth Lugo. Now, I said he may not have the best of games, but 0.5 strikeouts. Come on, give it to the man. Go sign up for Sleeper, guys. That link is in the pinned comment. You're also going to get 100% of your first deposit matched. That in and of itself is a no-brainer reason to go and check it out. But you also get this free square, and I believe you're going to get like 5 additional free squares throughout the week. Don't quote me on it, but I think that that's the case. You're going to get some WA NBA free squares. You get a Thursday Night Football free square. It's a pretty damn good deal, but you're definitely getting this Seth Lugo square there, guys. And again, that link is in the pinned comment. You can get 100% of your first deposit matched. The link's also in the description if that's easier for you as well. If you don't know what Sleeper is, it's simple. All it is a player prop DFS app in which you put 2 or more props into a slip. The more you win, the more you get paid out. You can have, flex plays, or you have to hit them all type of thing for a bigger payout. And speaking of payout, it's really cool what they do. You can win up to 100 times over on Sleeper. They don't follow a fixed payout structure. Every single play you put in, saying more or less, has its own odds / dynamic payout multiplier. So it's really, really cool, guys. More lines and more players on there as well. So go check out Sleeper. That link is in the pinned comment. And again, I think you're going to get more than just the Seth Lugo free square. It's also Wildcard Wednesday. I didn't even mention that. So they're going to drop a deal on our head at like midday or something. Go ahead and check out Sleeper. I couldn't hype this app up enough. We've been on it and working with them for 2 years now, and it's one of my favorite player prop tools out there. So go ahead and check it out, guys. I love Sleeper, and I think if you try it out, you will too. Link in the pinned comment. Let's jump back into these games here. We are looking at the Brewers taking on the Mets. Now, yesterday, this would have changed the day, right? And the vibe of the day. Because yes, we made profit yesterday, but I literally had my mouse over place bet for a half unit play on the Mets for plus money yesterday, and I didn't have the cojones to do it. I talked about it in the video. I think this Mets team is hot. I think that the Brewers, their offense has been inconsistent, and the Mets win 8-4, and that was a good game. It was the Mets were down, and then they tied it up, and then obviously they end up kind of going on a streak here, or stretch here, but Freddie Peralta looked good to start the game, and then only ends up pitching 4 innings. I wish I had the cojones to pull it, but betting isn't what it coulda, shoulda. You know what I mean? It's what you did, and yes, we made profit, but barely any profit there. Today we have a similar sort of game, but the odds are a little bit different. Frankie Montas is on the bump here, minus 115. The Mets are plus 100 over on Caesars. They have Sean Manaea on the mound. I like the Mets again, but I'll be honest with you guys, I don't like the Mets as much as I did yesterday, because I think that they had the momentum yesterday. Now it's like, is like the lower seed or lower team going to win 2 in a row? That seems a little bit more of a stretch to me, but I don't mind the pitching matchup here. Sean Manaea has 1 bad start in his last 5. It did come in his last game, and hate to say it was against Milwaukee, but maybe he's got a little bounce back in him there. Prior to that in his career, he had pitched okay against them, so it's not like he's just a tried and true stinks against the Brewers. And then in terms of Frankie Montas, his last start was against the Mets, and he only pitched 4 innings, 2 earned runs. Like, he pitched okay, right? But before that, he was kind of all over the place. He had a game against Arizona, great offense, I know, but he allowed 7 runs through 2 2/3. Before that, he played against Philly, great offense, I know, 3 runs through 5 innings. Played Colorado, I think he pitched 6 innings, 3 runs, and that was in Milwaukee. So Frankie Montas has kind of been all over the place, and his highs haven't been as low as his lows. So I think I do lean towards the Mets yet again today, but I don't know, man, if I'm going to be that close to pulling the trigger. I think that they have some juice and some momentum behind them, so that would be the reason that I do kind of sack up and pull the trigger. But overall, I think yesterday may have been the day, and I may have missed it. Now, one thing that kind of put this over the edge to me was the fact that Frankie Montas just absolutely stinks against lefties. You're going to have Lindor batting from the left side. You have Nimmo, who's a lefty, 2 of the better bats in that lineup, right? Winker, the DH, lefty. So kind of gives me some solace that they can have some big hits at big moments. And then Sean Manaea is really good against righties, and there's tons of righties littered in the top of this Milwaukee lineup. So even when you get down to the pitcher versus hand, it's kind of like, well, all right, even though I think Milwaukee could bounce back, I think the Mets still have, a pitching advantage as well as momentum behind them. So I'll lean in that direction. When it comes to the total, I'm going to lean towards the over here. I guess that's kind of what we're doing on a couple of these games. Yesterday, we obviously saw a high-scoring game, and the Mets have been winning baseball games by scoring runs, right? Like that last game they won against Milwaukee in the regular season, or their last game against Milwaukee in the regular season, 5-0 win. Then they scored 8 runs against Atlanta that put them in the playoffs, and they scored 8 runs yesterday. I don't think this is a fadeable team right now offensively, and 7.5 is a low number, and it's not like Frankie Montas is an absolute stud, so give me the over here in this spot as well. And a player prop here in this spot, we're going to be looking at Jose Iglesias. We cashed it yesterday. We're still paying a lot of juice for it, but I like his under 1.5 bases now. I would not transfer this to his hits, runs, and RBIs. The dude gets on base. The dude can obviously knock a couple in, and he can score himself, but total bases, to me, he's good for like one single per inning. You can see in the regular season here, 54% of his games he hit the under, 58 on the road, 69 on the road against righties just in general 60. So I do really like the spot here for him. And what I keep looking at is, well, one, he's not very good against righties, still very good, but not as good against not as good as he is against lefties. But I love the idea that if he's getting a fastball as the main pitch, his WOBA drops. So Jose Iglesias under 1.5 bases is a consideration. Do I love it? Did I love it yesterday? No, I put a quarter unit on it, right? So that may be the case today. The second pitch I loved yesterday out of his versus the pitcher type of thing in terms of his matchup. Today, not so much. He does hit the sinker well. That's Manaya's second pitch, but I'd still consider his under 1.5 bases. He's trending in that direction. If he goes out there and, gets more than two or more bases, then it probably just helps the Mets sort of money line. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I like that spot overall there. Hey, real quick, guys, before we do get to the rest of, or I guess the last game on the slate, right? Go ahead and comment 15 or actually 16 if you made it this far into the video. And let me know if you like the new format. Like I teased in yesterday's video, we'll start doing it now that there's less games where we just kind of slide out the logos and line and whatnot versus having the entire list. Because with 4 games on the slate, the list looks kind of silly, right? So let me know if you like the new outline or overlay, whatever we want to call them, and the graphics, as well as commenting 16 at this point in the video. But speaking of the graphics, let's jump into the next game here. We got the Padres taking on the Braves yesterday. We cashed Padres team total over, and it was a little bit of a sweat, but we still cashed it. Today we have Max Fried on the mound going up against Joe Musgrove. Joe Musgrove has been pitching really, really well. Not to say Max Fried hasn't been. 1.6 ERA over his last 5. Joe Musgrove, the San Diego pitcher, prior to his last start, he was pitching really well. He has one bad start, and then he kind of pitched okay against the Dodgers in his last start. Still good enough for a 1.6 ERA over his last 5. Now, this total is all the way down at 6.5, which I started to think, okay, maybe we can get an under out of this game because I like both pitchers, but 6.5 is just super, super low. Even looking at the first 5, it's at -190 for 4.5, which makes sense, right? Because we have a 6.5 full game total. I think my main lean may be to kind of bump that up or bump it down, depending on how you look at it, to 4. You can get it for -145 on ESPN right now, so the under in the first 5. Let these two teams, the two pitchers, do their thing, but overall, in terms of a money line lean, I think I'm looking at the plus money for Atlanta. Yes, their offense has looked a little, head scratching, even to get into the playoffs, right? They win, 4 to against the Mets. They had a 3-0 win. They lose 4-0 yesterday, but they get beat against the Mets when they scored a lot of runs, and it's kind of deflated them. But overall here, I think San Diego may not be this scorched earth run scoring team today. In particular against Max Fried, he's been decent against them in his career. 104 plate appearances against, get an expected WOBA of 316. On that same note, Joe Musgrove, 92 plate appearances against the Braves roster, 275 expected WOBA. So 2 decent expected WOBA out of these guys. That's why I don't mind the low scoring, but kind of just to parlay not actually parlay, but parlay the point into my money line lean. I like the Braves because if it's going to be a low scoring game, we don't have to worry about the Braves, having this bad scoring drought or anything like that. And then San Diego, against righties, they're phenomenal. Against lefties, last 30 days in particular, 5th worst average in the MLB. 8th worst WRC plus, on base percentage 5th worst, and then they rank 23, 18, 23 out of 30 teams in OPS, ISO, and slugging. So this is not a team that hits lefties all that well. Atlanta's going to see a lot of fastballs and cutters from Musgrove. They're 3rd and 1st against the fastball and cutter runs above average per 100 of those pitches seen in the last 30 days. So I think that there's a lane to get to Atlanta for what I would consider a decent price tag here as well, +110. So I'm going to lean towards the underdog Atlanta, +110 on the money line, as well as a slight lean towards the under, but it's probably a first 5 under if we were to roll with anything there. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well. 2 football videos coming out today. H to H, the show that I do with Tassos, in which we battle it out with the wheel each and every week. And then we also have our Thursday night football Bucks Falcons video coming out at, I believe, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure to check those out. And again, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.